How to release from stagnation, stepping into flow. Stagnation is an experience that we have in which we feel stuck or indecisive. We already have the ability to decide, but for some reason there is an experience where we're unable to decide or unable to choose the next step or get ourselves to take whatever action that we know we have to do to produce success. Now, this emotion of stagnation, or the state of mind called stagnation, is a result of many different variables. And one of the best things that we can do to release ourselves from stagnation is to take action in the direction towards the success that we desire. Now, this may seem very easy in theory, yet many people find themselves stuck. And what I want to share with you is some concepts that can help you release from this emotion or this experience of stuck or stagnation and feel a sense of purpose and direction to creating what you desire. Let's look at the meaning of stagnation. The state of not flowing or moving. Okay, not flowing or moving. It's a state of mind in which you experience a lack of momentum. Now, this is a state of not flowing or moving. So flowing, as in the desire exists within us, but for some reason we are unable to express that desire. So it is in a way an inability to express the desire based on a state of mind, the state of mind being stagnation. This results in lack of activity, growth, or development. Now, a lot of times when we find ourselves not having the ability to act, because we know that the forward-moving momentum will contribute to our growth and development, we experience a higher degree of shame on ourselves. And one important element to realize, and I've made many videos discussing this, that shame is usually some past beliefs that we have about ourselves that have instilled on our subconscious mind and look for opportunities to recreate themselves on the journey, a lot of times on the pathway to creating success. When we release from shame, or we commit to releasing from shame and make it a journey and release ourselves throughout the journey from identifying with shame, we'll find ourselves being more so in flow and experiencing less stagnation. Now, this is a very important point. There's where you want to be, there's where you are right now, and the beliefs that you have that create stagnation. Okay, the beliefs that create stagnation. Now, shame being one of the beliefs, but there could be many beliefs. Perhaps your belief about where you are and where you can be, various beliefs need to be reflected upon and evolved so you can experience what we call flow, where actions and awareness become one. You don't experience stuck or stagnation. Rather, you might experience moments of reflection, which there's a difference. Reflection is conscious, as in you choose to step away from what you're doing, to reflect upon what you're doing, the cause in the inner world and the effects in the outer world, as well as the cause and effect in the outer world, so you can evolve, so you can grow, so you can develop. That's done in the mind. That's a conscious act. So these are various states that we can be in fundamentally. Flow, reflection, rejuvenation, stagnation, or force. Our goal is to be in flow, reflection, and rejuvenation, and release ourselves from force and stagnation. Many ways of creating what you desire. What we want to do is create from a place of flow, power of mind, rather than a place of force. And it's very important then to study the works of David Hawkins surrounding the concept of power versus force. Stagnation is what we're referring to in this particular video, and we're going to discuss in detail. But a lot of times, force creates stagnation. We force ourselves, we force the outer world, we create shame as a result of not achieving by applying force on ourselves and others. And this lowers our self-esteem, self-confidence, creates confusion, which leads to stagnation. It is the thoughts that you allow your mind to dwell upon which create your experiences. Okay, really reflect upon that. It is the thoughts that you allow your mind to dwell upon which create your experiences. So you can experience flow, reflection, rejuvenation, or you can experience stagnation or force based on the thoughts. And a lot of times these thoughts are really at a belief level. Belief being assimilated from past most of the time, or information we learned from others that further encourages stagnation or force, or even encourages flow, reflection, and rejuvenation. The choice being, if you want to feel moving forward towards what you desire to create, instilling and identifying with thoughts of flow, reflection, and rejuvenation. So let's look at some of these thoughts that we have, and let me share with you some thoughts that can help you release from stagnation, ways of thinking, as we go into the belief elements. Number one, you deserve the life that you want. You deserve the life that you want. If there's any meaning that you've accumulated from your past, or any beliefs that you've assimilated that deny that you deserve the life that you want, it's important to reflect upon these beliefs and evolve them. This is where subconscious work can be very powerful. And I made a video on 4 modalities that you could use, and I'll put a link in the description. Any one of these, and I've used all of them, and these are the 4 that I work with exclusively, can help you release from any kind of beliefs that you have about yourself that prevents you from seeing the truth that you deserve the life that you truly, what your heart desires, what you truly want. Because if we've got beliefs where we identify with the lack of ability or disempowerment related to our desire or our definite chief aim, it can manifest itself on the journey as stagnation. Very important. Number 2, all reactions to what you experience can be evolved, meaning, watch the video I did on turning reactivity into proactivity. All reactions to what you experience can be evolved, again, by doing the subconscious work. A lot of times, when somebody experiences stagnation, they have a certain experience in their life or a certain interpretation about what they're experiencing. And their reaction is stagnation. They feel stuck, immobilized, they're frozen. They're unable to move forward because of the meaning that they are giving to what they experience. Number 3, there are many ways to get there. Okay, this is where I get into the concept of infinite intelligence, many ways of creating success. Many people have created success or created what you desire to create in their way, or from borrowing or even mimicking or replicating what someone else does. However, it's important to realize that what we're really looking for is our own unique way. And there are many ways that have never been discovered on how to create success, and you have the ability to find it. But you have to first believe this is possible. So these elements that I'm sharing with you right here are beliefs that you can instill in your subconscious work to free yourself from any elements that cause stagnation, which are based on beliefs. Number 4, one of our goals is to harmonize our conscious mind and subconscious mind relationship, building a healthy relationship between the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. The conscious being the thinking mind, and the subconscious mind being the creative mind, the mind that expresses and externalizes in reality. Most of what we create is subconscious. Most of our creation has been a result of past impressions on our subconscious mind. So we want to understand what is in our subconscious mind, and we want to harmonize the relationship. One of the best ways to harmonize the relationship between the conscious mind and subconscious mind is choosing, encouraging, and living in flow. When you find yourself in flow, what you're really experiencing is a harmonious relationship between the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. You feel it. That's when actions and awareness become one. Okay? Your creation and the conscious decisions is one. There isn't stagnation in those experiences. And as a result of facilitating flow more often, your default state of mind will be one of flow. Let's talk about flow, stepping into flow. Thought is the causative force in life. Your mind reflects as experience. Thought is the causative force in life. In other words, thoughts of deservedness, understanding about the different experiences you're having, and evolving your reactions to them, recognizing that there are many ways to get there, and making a commitment to harmonize the relationship between your conscious and subconscious mind will reflect as either flow, reflection, or rejuvenation on the journey to creating what you desire and releasing the beliefs and thus the experiences and biases that it's force that creates success, or releasing yourself specifically in what we're talking about here, stagnation. So flow Many of you have already probably known and heard of the concept of flow because I've mentioned it many times in my video. And if you haven't, then the book that I recommend is Flow by Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, as well as The Rise of Superman by Stephen Kotler. Flow is a blissful state of being. Okay? It's a state of being. It's a state of mind. Blissful. Anandamide, which is a neurotransmitter, is released and binds to the THC receptors in the brain when a person experiences flow. Ananda is a Sanskrit word for bliss. That's where they come up with the name anandamide, is from the Sanskrit word bliss. So flow is a blissful state of being. When you choose flow, encourage flow, and maintain flow, what you experience is the neurotransmitter release of anandamide, which binds to the THC receptors, and you experience, from a physiological perspective, flow. It also brings us to the present, facilitates higher levels of creativity and productivity to create happiness during the process of achieving a goal. Okay, so by choosing flow and stepping into flow and being in flow, which is one of the primary ways of releasing from stagnation, I'll talk about my 3 ways that will allow you to get into flow, maintain your flow, and maintain the growth momentum in flow. That's where most of the progress is made in the most rapid way. This is what I found and working with many clients in the process. It brings the individual into the present, or present to this moment. We're experiencing higher levels of creativity as well as productivity. So this is totally opposite from stagnation. And you're experiencing happiness, bliss, during the process of achieving a goal. So this is in relation to creating something. And this is something that I recommend all entrepreneurs or anybody creating success really instill as far as their understanding and practice towards the end result. Whether it's studying and learning or experience, applying and doing, when choosing it from the perspective of flow, you experience a higher degree of creativity, productivity, and happiness in the journey. In other words, you enjoy it. Now, for me personally, this was the key for me when it came to learning how to love the journey of creating success. Perhaps some of the elements in the journey we get reactive to and maybe even experience stagnation. Well, when you make flow a priority, when you experience something that you give meaning to in the outer world that seems to hold you back, what you'll notice is you'll get excited about it and you'll find a way to get to the destination. And this is same for the different reactivity elements that show up in the outer world, which we call disempowerment, which is based on the meaning that we have instilled from our beliefs from our past. We get excited about what shows up and we evolve the belief and we find ourselves back in flow again because we are subconsciously choosing flow, because flow is a conscious state of being in the earlier stages. In other words, we pick flow, and then as we start to form the habit of choosing flow, we find ourselves in flow more often because it is a subconscious choice. Now, let's talk about the elements of flow, and we'll talk about how to integrate them a little bit later. Clear goals at an abstract and granular level. In other words, you know where you're going, and it doesn't have to be a massive, big goal. It could be a step in the right direction, a small project, because when we're really talking about here is getting out of stagnation. So you probably already have a major goal or a definite chief aim. And you have also recognized that there's a number of projects or tasks that you need to do to bring forth that definite chief aim. So you can apply this concept to one of the tasks. And we'll talk about the 3 ways in a little moment of how you can do this. Clear goals at an abstract and granular level. There's immediate reporting and feedback. So what this means is that no matter what action you take, there's always a reaction. There's a cause and an effect. The outer world's a reflection of the inner world. The beliefs, the thoughts, the emotions, the actions externalize as experience, or the outer world. And there's reporting and feedback. And our goal is to understand and evolve within and choose conscious the next action that is in alignment. Number 3, there's a balance between challenge and skill. It's not overwhelming, not stressful, but rather something that is bringing you out of stagnation. If you're stuck and you're trying to do something that seems too overwhelming, a lot of times you'll find yourself identifying further with stagnation. So pick a shorter, smaller task, see it all the way to completion, or use one of my 3 ways, which I'm going to talk about in a moment, which will lower the level of perception of challenge, or your perception of challenge will be that of one more in alignment with your ability or belief within to rise up to a higher level of skill, even tap into the existing skill that you have within your subconscious to overcome it, thus then rising up to a higher level of skill. Number 4, actions and awareness become one. This is where the conscious mind and subconscious mind harmonize together, and you have a greater degree of harmony within. Action and awareness becomes one. Distractions, number 5, are excluded out of consciousness. What you'll start to notice is that you will choose to remain focused on the task. You'll be more engaged in the task. You're feeling not just the anandamide release, but you also experience some of the other neurotransmitter releases within, which make you feel good. In other words, you choose to remain engaged in what you're doing. Number 6, fear of failure tapers away. So there's many fears that could potentially show up that have been a result of experiences in our past, beliefs in our past, emotional reactions in our past that affirm themselves and recreate themselves through outer world experiences. Well, we are less identified with those fears. And as a result of being less identified with those fears, we don't have as much fear on the journey. Fear tapers away. Self-consciousness, number 7, disappears. We are more engaged in what we're doing. We're more present. There appears to be, number 8, a distortion of time. Okay, there is a common thread that occurs for those that find themselves in flow. They are so involved and engaged with what they're doing, and they're getting so much joy and happiness in what they're doing, that what happens is time just seems to fly, and they're not interested in the time. And from a meta level, they're not stagnating. Okay? The main reason why we're applying flow here is to release ourselves from stagnation. And then number 9, the activity and person becomes autotelic. Okay? Actions and awareness become one. Well, now you're so involved with the activity that you are one with it. So evolving our beliefs can also help us choose flow, identify with flow, express and create from a perspective of flow, and instill, as far as these beliefs go, a certain way of being, a self-image that is not going to choose, experience, or identify with stagnation. We're evolving our beliefs. Again, what you allow your mind to dwell upon externalizes as experience. So what we're really doing here is, if you experience stagnation, we're going to choose flow, and we're going to use my 3 ways here, which I'm going to talk about in a moment, and we're going to dwell upon what we're doing. Okay, we're going to dwell upon the task, and we're going to experience the joy and bliss which is facilitated by the neurotransmitters, and we're going to have the experience of dwelling upon what is in harmony and related to our goal, which then externalizes as the experience of flow, releasing from stagnation. So here are some core beliefs that can help facilitate. Number 1, more flow each day. Our goal is to release from stagnation, choose flow, and choose to experience flow more so each day. Number 2, presence, living more in each moment. Now this is a automatic manifestation from being in flow. So rather than saying, I'm going to force myself to be more present, we don't use force, we use power of mind. And power of mind is found in flow. By being in flow, the side effect or the benefit from that, the manifestation, is presence, living more in each moment, because action and awareness becomes one. There's a distortion of time. The person becomes autotelic. Number 3, conscious decision-making and sticking with it. We are also practicing conscious decision-making. Choosing to be in flow because we have a desire to be in flow, so we rekindle our desire to create success as a result of experiencing flow more often. You look for flow, and this facilitates better conscious decision-making to creating the success that you want. Number 4, step in the right direction, thinking long range. So one of the things that causes us to stagnate is you want the results right now. And that may or may not happen, but that wanting and the force energy that you feel, the force state of being, actually creates a separation. And through that separation, we can shame ourselves. And as a result of doing that, we can stagnate. So we see this more as a step in the right direction. Through the repetition, you'll find yourself being more in flow, choosing flow, and having less stagnation. Now, I will speak from experience on this because there's never been a moment recently where I have felt stagnation. And earlier stages in my journey, I felt it to a high degree. So all of these things that I'm sharing with you is based on my experience. All of these things that I'm sharing with you is based on also working with many others to help them, team members, clients, vendors, contractors, to help them release from stagnation and produce success in the spirit of harmony. So step in the right direction. Seeing this as a step in the right direction creates the habit, evolves our beliefs, instills these beliefs, which are beliefs that I've created upon reflection of what facilitated it, which further allows you to be more in a state of flow and less identified with stagnation. And if for a moment you experience any stagnation, you're going to automatically default to one of these three ways I'm going to talk about. And the number 5, dwelling in thought, talking about how what we dwell upon externalizes. So it's not really the thought, but the dwelling upon that thought. So when we're dwelling upon the stagnation, we're creating more of it. When we're dwelling upon the flow or choosing to rejuvenate or be in a state of bliss, we're going to create more of it. And number 6, flow and quantum leaps. So flow can be experienced as steps in the right direction. And through the process of being in flow, you will experience something what I call quantum leaps. Big steps in the right direction, synchronicities, and certain experiences where you accelerate in progress. Sometimes certain people, environment, and circumstances change on their own to support your journey. But because you have maintained your flow, you're more likely to recognize them and leverage those particular areas to experience what we call quantum leaps, which can accelerate our success. So we all want the accelerated success, and stagnation has an opportunity to bring us to accelerated success when we choose one of the 3 things that we talk about, step into our flow, and then have the different experiences that we call accelerated success or quantum leaps. So here are the 3 ways to release from stagnation that I've used before that universally work and have brought me to a place of habitually staying in flow or consciously choosing rejuvenation if I would like to, or reflection, and not having the experience of stagnation. And if it does show up, I will use any one of these 3 through the habit. So first we've got the Pomodoro technique. And the way this works is you pick any task, whatever it is you decide to do, or you sequence your tasks. If it's a task that only takes 5 minutes, then perhaps sequence a bunch of tasks together. And the goal is to dedicate 25 minutes to working on the one task or choosing that one task and being in it while applying the elements of flow, while recognizing and infusing the things that you learned from Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi's book. And what happens is that you get into the flow, you experience it. You evolve your beliefs. Any disempowering beliefs show up, and you can reflect back on this video and identify more with the beliefs that I share with you. It will evolve your beliefs and you'll build more momentum. And then the third thing will happen as a result of doing this, and the method really is 25 minutes of focus working on one task or just being committed to whatever it is for 25 minutes. It could be a sequence of tasks, taking a 5-minute break. So it'll go like this: 25 minutes, 5 minutes, 25 minutes, 5 minutes, 25 minutes, 5 minutes, 25 minutes, and then a 25 or 30-minute break. So again, we're getting into the flow. That's the goal. If you find yourself stagnated or you're in a stagnation phase right now and you want to release from it, pick a task, pick a sequence of tasks, and commit to apply the Pomodoro technique. Do 1 Pomodoro or 2 Pomodoros or 3 Pomodoros or 4 Pomodoros and make a habit of doing it. To build momentum, choose to do 4 Pomodoros a day and commit to it for 7 days, and you'll start to notice you're releasing from stagnation and being more in flow. And as you keep the habit, you will build further momentum. The second thing you can do, and you can do this in combination, because I like doing all these things in combination, is you can pick one task and see it all the way to completion. As mentioned, when we look at what we have to create in order to have the success that we desire, say it's the entrepreneurial endeavor, if you want to create the business, you might look at all these things we have to do. But it's important to remember that the journey of 1,000 steps begins with 1 step. So pick one task and commit to see it all the way to completion. Block off some time, turn off all your distractions, and apply the flow-based elements to get into the flow. Again, identifying any beliefs that you have, writing them down, reflecting at the end of the day, journaling, and evolving those beliefs using one of the 4 subconscious mind modalities. and then continuously maintaining this habit. Say, every day you're going to pick a task and do it all the way to completion. Or as soon as you find yourself picking a task and seeing it all the way to completion, what you'll notice afterwards is you no longer identify with stagnation. You're more in the flow and you have more momentum. And I always say this, actions create clarity. So when you take something and you start doing it and apply it, whatever it is that you learn, into the task of doing and seeing it all the way to completion, you get a higher degree of clarity. Insights, perspectives, inner voice conversation gets facilitated to a higher degree, and you start moving forward. Another thing you can do is 30, 60 minutes or longer block time, just carving it out in your calendar, blocking off the time, and staying committed to a project or task all the way to completion. Again, the goal here is, if you're experiencing stagnation, is to get yourself back into flow, and any one of these will work. It's also to help you identify certain beliefs you have about yourself on the journey and evolve those beliefs so you can then create and identify with beliefs that will get you to automatically choose and honor and maintain and build your flow. And all this stuff, number 3, is about maintaining this habit. So one of the reasons why we have a hard time staying in a habit is because our beliefs surrounding it. Now, there's many beliefs that bind us to the habits that we have. And it's important to reflect upon what shows up for you. And there could be many things. I can't really reveal what they are for you in the video. And I trust this is a step in the right direction, along with the other videos that I've done on helping you identify evolving beliefs, so you can change that programming that's in your subconscious mind, evolve your self-image, and be more in alignment with where you really want to be. So again, in recap, there's where you want to be, there's where you are right now, and the beliefs that have been instilled in your subconscious mind that create stagnation. And you know you're on the right path when you pick and choose flow. And if you're not doing that, then this is a step in the right direction, using any one of these 3 particular ways of getting out of stagnation and into flow. And then what you'll experience is that you will choose consciously flow, rejuvenation, and reflection, and you will release more and more so each day from stagnation and force-based ways of creating reality, which further creates a higher degree of stagnation. If you want to copy this mind map, the link is in the description. Thank you very much for watching. I'll talk to you soon. Take care.